G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is the AK-47. I don't think this weapon really needs that much of an intro. We all know what it is, but it probably won't say as the AK-47 for long. So this thing right here is just another standalone weapon added by the Modern Firearms pack, and it is a brilliant looking weapon at that. So getting into the receivers here, we can change this. This makes it an AK-47 because it's an old receiver. You can make it an AKM, AK-100 with a good old tactical rail on the top, so we'll do that. You can also have it with the non-tactical rail, but I like being super tactical. Next up for the barrels, you've got a bunch of barrels here and they vary in length and damage output. We'll go ahead and chuck the longest barrel on here. You know, no, actually no, I like the barrel how it is there. Yeah, that should be fine. Next up for the handguard, you can change the look of this, which is really nice, and you can sort of make it look very futuristic in the AK sort of thing indeed. But what I like to do here is just chuck it on the polymer handguard there. And next up, we'll also chuck on a stock here, probably the polymer one, because I sort of like this whole color scheme we've got going here. But there, as you can see, there is so many stock options that you'd never get bored of the bloody thing. Next up, for the magazines, you can chuck in a drum mag if you want. There's a bunch of other mags here too. They mostly are 30 round mags, but they do look very, very different all around. And there's a big old 40 mag there if you want to chuck that in your RPK to make it look more genuine. So next up, you've got a sight, and of course these things I usually use in air attack. For now, we'll go for that one. But yeah, if you want massive optic customization, then you've come to the right place with this weapon, so that's good. Next up, we've got the muzzle attachments, and of course we're going to attach a suppressor here. There's the Phantom one. I always go for the Phantom one, but yeah, they're all personal preference. Some of them give you a little bit of damage penalty, so you want to make sure you grab the right ones, but usually I go with the Phantom. That one's fine. Now, there's a little bit of functionality of this mod that I haven't really showcased yet, so what we'll do is we'll touch on that grenade launcher, and we'll see some use out of that later, but that goes in our underbarrel slot, which leaves us to our ammo. I'll just leave that on FMJ, full auto fire mode, and grenade type. This is a thing that activates when you've got the grenades actually loaded, so you can have FAE, HEDP, and shrapnel. If you're a huge gun nerd, let us know what those mean. But I'm pretty sure one of these is nuclear, and I don't want the frame rate to drop too bad, so I'll just chuck in that one. Next up, you can change the weapon paint, but it appears that we don't have much in the way of that for now, so we'll just leave that alone. And where'd my mag go? Okay, interestingly, the mag has disappeared. We'll see if that sticks around before we get into Gunner's Plaza, but as you can tell here, you also have the legendary effects slot if you don't feel like doing this thing. Alright, so this is what we're going to use, but of course we'll chuck ourselves just a regular AK-47 because it's a nice weapon, and we'll use that too at some point. But yeah, we'll go into Gunner's Plaza now. Alright, so here we are in Gunner's Plaza with our AK, so we'll get stuck into these dudes as soon as possible, and we can see what sort of damage this does. So as you can tell here, we're going to do pretty good damage with that sneak attack critical. We were pushing almost to 1,000 there, like 3/4 of the way there. So you know, this thing is going to be good with the damage department. And with the suppressor, we can keep ourselves nice and hidden, but there's no real reason to do that as our damage is good enough. Now, what I've quickly noticed with these modern weapons is that they all use the same reload animation, which doesn't exactly translate too well to Kalashnikov weapons. As you can tell, they charge the charging handle from the wrong side there, so I guess you use the force to pull it. I'm not sure, but anyway, as for bullet performance, you can tell that it does absolutely fine. But what about those grenades I attached onto it? Well, if you go ahead and check out your little vending machine that you get from this mod, and you buy yourself a training manual to use that, basically what you do is just you hotkey it, and then you hit the hotkey. And in a few... Uh-oh, I broke it somehow. Okay, as it turns out, you're not allowed to have any sort of other weapon of the same variety in your inventory. It sort of breaks. But yeah, you press the hotkey and it gives it to you, and now I should be firing grenades. So, fire in the hole. We'll take out this turret first. And there you go, yeah, it gives you a mighty big bang for your buck. And you do quite a bit of damage with it, so we'll just clear off the rest of these gunners like that. And as you can tell, the reload animation doesn't change, but Yeah, it's something I don't really care about. I think that's fine just how it is. Just the functionality of it is interesting me enough, or interesting for me enough to not really care about that. It's a nice little way to just handle that thing. So if you want to switch back, just hit the hotkey again, and in a few seconds it'll give you back your weapon just the way it was, except this time it doesn't have a suppressor, so that fell off. Hello me, meet the real me. And with a little bit of knockdown, we'll knock her down and shoot her and kill her, and then we'll go ahead and finish off the rest of these gunners here. So as you can tell, the thing is not entirely flawless in its function, but as a basic level thing without using the script extender, I feel like it's actually doing alright. So we'll go ahead and finish you off since you've been knocked down, and we'll spray you down with the rest of our bullets, and we'll follow up on that turret there. So there you have it. That was the AK something or other in this one. I've lost track of what it's actually called, but as you can tell, it's going to perform very, very well indeed, and having that little GP30 on the bottom is going to make it that much better. So there you have it. That was it in Gunners Plaza. All modern weapons are going to perform well, so what do you expect from this one? We're going for style points this time though. So there's one over there. We've got ourselves just an AK here. There's nothing on it except for what you just find on an AK maybe a couple of years back, or maybe many years back, but there you go. You sort of aim down the sights there, and we'll get stuck into Swan a little bit here. And now as you can tell there, we've actually able to stagger the bastard, which is nice. Although being not a suppressed weapon, we've got ourselves found really quickly, which is a little bit of a shame. We'll go ahead and just test this thing out in VATS just to see what it can do there. So it's not doing bad damage, but of course we could obviously do better. As soon as this sort of bursts over, as you can tell, yeah, this thing would be more suited to fighting dudes in Gunners Plaza, but for Swan, I think we're going to need something a little bit more serious. Okay, now we've got our other thing back, and we'll switch to the grenade launcher on it, and there we go, we get a little bit better damage from that, although maybe not as much DPS from the lengthy reload we have to sit through, but let's test this thing out in VATS, shall we? This should be fun. We missed there. We'll go for a crit, make sure we actually hit, and to the face there, and as you can see, a little untextured twig under his thing, which is kind of interesting. Now he's mutated, and we're going to kill him very, very easily after this. I'll get back to the AK-47 or maybe an RPK later on, but for now we're going to need just something a little bit better than an AK without any things. So we'll switch back to our bullets now and finish him off that way. Now with the big drum mag here, we'll be able to sustain our fire for a bit longer, resulting in him dying quicker. And look at this, we're almost perma-staggering the bastard, so there you go. Even without a suppressor, you can still do pretty well, not stacking sneak attack criticals constantly, and that is incredibly useful for stopping his barrage of homing boulders that he likes to throw. And if the reload is just a little bit too long for you, you can go ahead and just enter VATS for a little bit before you to reload, because that's totally acceptable according to the game. Enter VATS again, don't have to sit through that reload, and there we go. That's an interesting little exploit that I don't feel like people really know about, but if you use a double-barreled shotgun that way, it's actually kind of effective. But yeah, there goes Swan pretty much. I've got him just about dead. He's not going to withstand this mag, and there you go. So even without a suppressor, this thing gives Swan quite a good run for his money. Pack a few grenades to stuff him up if you have to, but a suppressor is generally how you'd like to do this, and yeah, you didn't last long either, did ya? Alrighty, so we get the idea with that. We'll go make an RPK type weapon and do something else. Ooh, that was a close-up. Righto, so here we are just about to take on a giant Deathclaw, and we've got an RPK, so there's the stock there, the long barrel with the bipod, and the thing about bipods is that they do very much decrease your recoil and all of that, but they give you a huge movement penalty whilst aiming down sights, which can be a problem, but hopefully we should be able to take out this Deathclaw just fine. Too bad we can't actually sort of lean the bipod on something to shoot this one with, but we'll get stuck into him regardless. If he gets knocked down, it'll be very good, and we'll try to take out all of his mates so we don't get detected here, so we can take him out in the fastest way possible. There we go. Kill this Deathclaw. If he's already spotted me, then he will be actually able to detect me, but as you can tell there, we're getting heaps of damage on him. We'll pop a quick reload, and all of that knockdown is transferred to him. unlike Swan, because Swan can't be, what he's from the basic little swan that you find in his pond, he can't be knocked down anyway, but since this Deathclaw is just an enlarged version of a smaller enemy in the game, they are susceptible to it. So that means we'll be able to just take him on nice and easily and not have to worry about this. So we'll get a reload here, we've got one bullet left, and then we'll get a look down the Cobra site there again, and yeah, it's a pretty decent looking site. This is the alternate site for it. I haven't actually tried out the other reticule, but I like this one just fine. I think it works out. But there you have it. With that level up, that is about time to end the video. I actually just opened that up. I was supposed to turn on my flashlight, but there you have it. That was some of the AK weapons, I think all of them really, that the Modern Firearms mod has to offer, and they're very good. I approve of all of them. The only thing that I'd change is just the reload animations on them, but since this weapon mod covers so much, it's going to be hard to dedicate so much time to the animation tools to actually use this thing, but they definitely all look very well. They sit in your hands properly, which is more than you can say, but for most of the mod, for some of the weapons in here, they're a little bit on the wonky side in your hands, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like to see this weapon in your game, be sure to check out the description below. There shall be a link to all of that. I suggest picking it up on ModDB because you have to log in and make an account for Lovers Lab to actually download it from there. So yeah, downloading it there's probably a better idea. But yeah, if you're on Xbox One, you can download this one quite easily. It's just on the Bethesda thing, so won't be hard to find. And also, if you'd like to see this character in your game as a companion or a mini boss to fight, then links will be in the description there too. She's my latest companion mod, so yeah, if you're interested in that, then head along down the description and find that. I'm gonna go ahead and edit up my next episode of One Hit Wonder. Until then, thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.